Here we have a 2018 on a 68 registration. Scania K410EB, Caetano Levante 3, 80-seat PSVR compliant executive coach. Now, I use the phrase executive because it's got a toilet. Nothing more, nothing less. Okay? Let's clarify that straight away before anybody puts any comments on. So, we are up at Ria's. Coaches up in Cumbria. Looking at this, one of a pair. A very modern looking Levante 3 ex-National Express vehicles that's been up-seated to a high capacity school coach. Now, when these came here originally, they had a fortune spent on them. Okay, all bodywork was done and they had a fresh coat of paint. The good thing, the best thing about that is that they've got rid of that horrible black bit between the back axles, because I really thought that just made this body look absolutely garbage. They also had brand new Durabite alloy wheels fitted at the time. Okay, under the bonnet, new clutches, full engine service. Aircon was also fully serviced at the time. They had a fortune spent on them to get them up to standard. Under the bonnet, we've got a Euro 6 Scania engine driven through Scania's automated OptiCruise gearbox. Reverse cameras also fitted. Along the near side again, bodywork's all done. If I can pick it up on anything, that panel's sitting a little bit out. That's it. We've got power operated lockers with a massive amount of luggage. Now, this is where these, for me, come into their own over a lot of 3 and 2s. Because if you've got a vehicle that's 3 and 2 seated and has a wheelchair lift fitted, before you even start thinking about luggage, you're overweight. Right? Fully loaded with luggage, you're going to be overweight on 2 axles. This eliminates all that because you've got your high capacity. You've got your wheelchair lift, but you've also got massive luggage, which is going to sit nicely because that extra axle gives you a lot more gross vehicle weight. That's an important thing to bear in mind. You've got to look, everybody's going to look at the disadvantages on this vehicle, length, right? You've got to look at all the advantages. That's the disadvantage for a lot of people, overhang at the back, right? However, there's a lot more plus points. The power operated lockers, by the way, on the near side. On the Levante 2, National Express discontinued having power lockers on the offside for obvious reasons. 99 times out of 100, you're loading on the near side, aren't you? LED destination displays fitted to front, side and rear, the Hanovers. Front step-mounted wheelchair lift, which takes us nicely inside to these, not very old, they've certainly been done since Christmas, 80 prime seats. I also like the fact that they're done in a very neutral maquette, which matches the very neutral curtains and the very neutral everything else. Finishings, okay? So, 3-point seat belts are fitted. Leather headrest inserts, just give them a little bit more about them, if that makes sense. Seats are in great condition. When I first got on, I didn't like this. I didn't. But you know, in half an hour, I've changed my mind. I do like it. Isn't it weird? Just shows first impressions not always to be trusted. We've got a rear floor mounted toilet. On Levante 3s, that went to the offside. That's far better for me because of how the toilet drainage works. Right, when it was on the left, it had to go all the way to the right because the tank was underneath here. Where now, it's a straight down job. Or you could say a jobby, which is far better. We've got wood effect laminate to the floor. We're obviously wired for CCTV. You know, as I said, you've got to get past the negatives and look at all the positives. especially when there's going to be less and less double-decker buses available, because we're not far off hitting all the hybrids and electrics now. There's less and less diesel, and that's going to factor a lot into your future purchases. Fully air conditioned, all working beautifully. And then here you actually lose 7 seats for a wheelchair, which is a lot, but you're still 73 plus a wheelchair, because you lose those 2 doubles on quick release tracking, and you also lose this triple, otherwise the wheelchair won't get on. I just wonder if there's a way around that. I don't know. The only way I can see is make that a double and put... Oh, because of the toilet you won't get 6 across the back, would you? No, that won't work either. No, that's how it's got to be, I think. So, quick release tracking gives you a wheelchair space but loses you 7 seats. Dashboard, standard Levante. Actually, it's improved a bit, if I'm being honest, because if you remember, on Levante 1s and 2s, all your switches are on like a flat bit here. Quite a long flat bit, where here it looks more like a coach cockpit, you know. Multifunction steering wheel on the Scania. Mileage for a Levante, that's low. Right, you got to bear in mind what, late 2018, so late 2014, 2024, 6.5 years old, less than 1 million kilometres. For me, that's great mileage. And again, something to bear in mind when purchasing. There are a lot of Levante 3s coming on the market this sort of age. However, they've got considerably higher mileage, and they won't have had the amount of mechanicals done to them as this has, and its sister. Remember, we've got 2. Here's an interesting thing that I only discovered this recently. This monitor here links to the CCTV, so when you've got lockers open, it gives you a side view down the coach, so you can actually see if anybody's like, who shouldn't be hanging around the luggage compartment or so on, is. And then when you shut the lockers, which I'll do now, right, it'll revert to, you'll see in a minute, it's not a fast operation, this. Now that should at some point revert to, there we go, forward view, so everybody gets a front seat. The other interesting thing is this. Andy, when you're in big cities with cyclists, put the left hand indicator on and you get this.
Vehicle turning left. Caution. Vehicle turning left.
So obviously, cyclists, pedestrians, etc. have no excuse for getting flattened. So, to recap, it's a long video this because it's a long bus. To recap, this is what I compare. 2018 on a 68 registration, Scania K410EB, Caetano Levante 3, 80 seat, PSVAR compliant, executive in speech marks coach.